It is the fate of gods to conduct the universe. Heaven help them. Every god has the grounding force in nature. They do not control every aspect of the universe. There are the lesser gods, who are delegated power by the greater. Born of heroes' souls and the clay of earth, these deities are no less worthy of our respect. The first lesser gods were created by Thanos, god of thunder. As the new ages came to him, bringing more and more electronic devices, the time and work required to run the universe became overwhelming. One day, while knitting the lightning for the world, he dropped an electrical socket to Earth. As it fell from heaven, it took on massive heat, becoming a pure blazing sun streaking through the sky. When it impacted, it could be felt even by the pantheon of the gods. Continents buckled and shattered, lakes boiled, and mountains crumbled to clay. But when Thanos looked down upon his folly, he saw life within this socket. It had taken on the appearance of man, with his corporeal form and foibles. When he investigated closer, he found this new being had been granted a sliver of his power and could wield influence for him in the world. Thus, Thanos set to creating his children, the lesser gods of lightning and static. They carried his will, thoughts, and deeds to man, allowing an explosion of technological thought and progress. What had once been limited by the time of one god, now flourished under the cooperation of many. His first son, Alexis, could command the force of lightning from heaven. From his position atop the clouds, he tossed bolts to the ground indiscriminately, striking down all he surveyed. But this warlike attitude was not all he was capable of. The mastery of lighting allowed him to see all the world for an instant as the bolt hit the ground. He saw every face and every home. Dietes was the second child. As his father had given the elder brother command of lightning, there was not much left for Dietes to accomplish. Static electricity, while powerful in great numbers, was mostly used for simple random encounters with man. Despite the mundane lot he had in life, Dietes embraced it, acting responsibly and faithfully to his task. Other lesser gods followed in their wake. Masters of steel, lords of battleships and submersibles, of factories and aircraft. More modern tools came of age, and with them came an insurgence of god-splitting power. With each new god came more efficiency in the realm of mankind. Limits were cast aside, and they progressed to dizzying technological and cultural heights. As the splits continued, many of the gods were pleased with themselves. They had brought about the greatest technological and cultural revolution of any age. Surely, nothing could damage them now. But, as fate would soon show, when faith is split from great forces, the power is dulled. Lo, I beheld a great chasm, and bursting from within this chasm was Phase, Lord of Underworld. He had beheld the chaos and violence of gods, and hastened to prevent their fall. He was too late. If the gods had been a uniting force, the lesser gods may have existed in perpetuity, being split with every new mechanism devised by mankind. But, with every split, the power and security of the greater gods weakened. No longer to incorporate as mere forces, they saw their weakened brothers as a chance to seize greater power for themselves. The first act came from Thanos, who had perpetuated the lesser gods before any other. For many years, Thanos had been jealous and resentful towards his older brother, Orpheus, god of all sounds. Thanos felt that since a bolt of lightning created the sound of thunder, he should be the one in control of both. Orpheus disagreed, and the two had feuded over it since the first bolt struck the sand to create man. With this new, modern world, there was a cacophony of sound which had to be created. Orpheus had cast down more delegates than any other deity, and suffered for it. Unable to take on incorporeal form, he clung to his remaining power as he was spread thinner and thinner. One day, his brother Thanos came to his palace, asking for audience to discuss easing Orpheus' burden. Eager for relief, he allowed Thanos entry, and invited him for dinner. Under the sound of clinking forks and pouring wine, Thanos pried for information about the situation Orpheus had been thrust into. Before the second course could arrive, Thanos cast aside his pretense of civility and swallowed his brother whole. It was a dangerous precedent. Soon, every god was coming to consolidate the power of their brothers. Gods of nature consumed each other, gaining greater power but wrecking the seasons. This soon threw the forces of nature into conflict. As spring led to winter, birds took to the sea, men married their pets. The land was awash in hysteria. Soon, the seas began to rise, and the earth cracked. Underworld was bursting with the souls of dead men and gods, and they could be contained no longer. When the feuding in heaven had reached its climax, they obliterated the gates and stormed the universe, breaking every natural being. The gods, bloated and unable to function, perished. It seemed as though Thanos' folly had brought the end times. But the seas retreated. Man still lived. Even with the greater gods wiped out, those who had assumed their duties remained. Even with forces of chaos and anarchy in the universe, man would be able to start again. So, life went on. Cities were rebuilt, and new civilizations were formed. We must keep the land safe from fear. We cannot go back to the way things were, so we must press onwards, anew. Nobody will come to save us, so know that you respond only to yourself. Bind yourself to your task, and never waver. Gyros, Lord of Caverns. This content is Creative Commons. Relevant attribution can be found in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.